Hello, everyone. You're listening Hacking Proof Web3 Security Podcast, and today with you, as usual, your honest host Alex, and today our guest Mario. Mario is a security researcher at Cantina and Optimism Grand Consul, also ex-consul at Ethernaut DAO, and now he is building Soldeer XYZ, which is the first Solidity package manager in Rust. How are you today, Mario?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, working as usual, so keeping busy.
Yeah, thank you for accepting the invitation. And I believe that we should start from some explanation. Like maybe some people will have a questions why are you anonymous today? And so, yeah, could you please share more info about that?
Yeah, so well, it goes back like back in the days. I've been in this field for so long, and I know like what type of people are usually lurking around, and we have lots of increased attacks on Web3 people. Especially in real life attacks. And that's something that I try to protect as much as possible. I try to protect my identity as much as possible so I won't get, targeted. Plus,
Yeah,
I work in a field where, I catch bad guys. So that increases the risk.
yeah, definitely. You know, I seen in news just a few days ago, that story from uh, Peter Todd, I think so, the man who HBO claimed as Satoshi Nakamoto, and wrote that he getting a lot of how it calls, like ransom messages, that people are trying to hunt him because they believe that he's holding a lot of assets, while he's pretty sure that he's not a Satoshi. but there is a lot of stupid people around, and of course, why the one of the most reason why we like crypto is that you still can be uh, private if you want, anonymous if you want, yeah, if you want it.
Yeah, exactly. And another risk about crypto is the fact that if anyone holds your gunpoint and you give the asset, there is nothing that can actually stop those assets. When someone tries to steal that from a bank account, it's kind of like impossible because the bank can always, stop the funds if at some
If
point.
they
So
want,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah.
So okay, let's start from very beginning. Can you share a bit about your background? How did you came into Web3 and security from very beginning of your story? Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in tech for a lot of time. I've been first in Web2, and I've been doing a lot of security there. And also, I've done a bit of startup, like, adventures, helping startup building the product, securing the product, and so on and so forth. And around 2018, I think, I started to get more interested into, let's say, the blockchain and uh, like what it actually represents. I've been in the beginning of all types of chains, and because at that point was kind of like what it happens right now with L2s. But at that point, everyone was building an L1 actually, and a competitor to Bitcoin, a competitor to Ethereum.
Yeah, and you Ethereum killers.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been at that point. I started with at first to, let's say, understand Bitcoin and the whole model, and then moved slowly to Ethereum and fell in love with Ethereum and the community. And it all started with actually DeFi summer
Oh yeah.
when everyone was aping in different protocols, and I started to also ape, of course. And
Did you
I
get an airdrop from Uniswap? Sorry for interrupting you.
no. Well, I cannot disclose or I cannot deny or actually say if I received
Okay.
any airdrop. So Yeah. But other than that, I started to, to get also wrecked because of lots of red pools at that point. And I started, because I knew already to program, I said, okay, I need to do something. So I started to actually look into the code of the protocols that I was actually looking into and to and started to advise here and there some users as well. Like, okay, yeah, this is not safe, this is safe. And then I started to do the white hat, if I can call it like that, where I actually see like protocols who were doing like actually trying to rug and letting the people. I've been part of some white hatting operations as well. Okay. And slowly, getting into this security and started to the field more and more. I started to kind of like get back my old roots from Web2 security. And I was like, a bit melancholic and said, okay, I think my passion is actually security and not startups and not all of this stuff. So
Yeah.
back to the roots and I'm doing full-time security.
But in Web2, you were doing security as well, or it was just
Yeah,
a development?
Web2, I did security, cybersec at the beginning, like my first years actually in Web2 were cybersec, and then I moved to startups. And so, because if we think around, if we look back, cybersec wasn't such a hot topic. I mean, everyone was like, very sloppy with their apps. Okay, there were some, there were data leaks everywhere, but
Yeah.
the government and everyone kind of like didn't know exactly what happens on the internet and what's valuable, like data is valuable, yes or no, and so on and so forth. So it wasn't such a good field for cybersec in terms of it wasn't such a popular field
Yeah.
like it is right now. It's like talking about privacy, not leaking data, and so on and so forth. So that's why slowly I moved from cybersec to development, because development was a hot topic. Everyone building startups, everyone building products.
Yeah, the boom of mobile apps at the
Exactly.
very beginning.
That's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah. So now you've stopped trying to run a startup, yeah, and focus it yourself on a security only.
Yeah, exactly. So for now, I don't have any plan to build any startup, and I'm just focusing on security because there is also a big need of security, making sure that we secure products, we secure the users. And, that's my focus as of now.
But you mentioned that you are building a Soldeer, which is a packet manager in Rust. Is it like a public goodwill, or why did you
Yeah,
decide to build it? And
because I did a lot of securities. So the story of Soldier started like this. Solidity development started with, of course, all the packages, but then it actually took off when released their whole infrastructure, and everyone also started to use hardware. But then, of course, hardware was based on JS ecosystem, and then Foundry started to rise, and the Paradigm team did a very good job on that, and everyone moved to Foundry. The big problem in Foundry was actually the package management. There was no, I mean, if Hub had a good thing, was actually that it had the NPM ecosystem behind it, so you could actually have some sort of package management in Solidity. But Foundry, unfortunately, no. It relied a lot on Gitsu modules. And doing so many security reviews, I was keep looking at first, okay, what type of dependency this project is using, what version, okay, is this audited, is not, and I was like, okay, why don't I build something to help in this space? Plus, these modules are like super hard to manage, and they're very heavy. And I built Soldier, and it's an open source project. been part of two optimism grants,
Oh,
but
cool.
it's full open source and it will always be open source. Was built by me, and now we have around two. I have another open source contributor alongside with me that helped me a lot in the past month or so. And yeah, that's the story of Soldier. And Soldier will remain open source. There is no need. Maybe at some point, I'm not sure if it really grows into something. There may be some small paid type just for like private repositories or so something super advanced that requires more cloud space or more infrastructure that needs to be paid somehow, because being open source also means that I mostly support all the costs.
Yeah. Definitely. Actually, the dependency problems are the big challenge, not only in Web3 but in Web2 as well. Have you seen that meme, like the big top A company with big infrastructure and everything is holding on one of the open source projects supported by some guy from Finland, and yeah, one mistake or one missed issue in small part of code which you're using as a dependency can break everything. So
Yeah, just today we had a 1 inch side that being compromised because they were
yeah.
using a dependency that was actually exploited. So see, that's one of the things that why dependencies are important.
Oh,
So
I haven't read a postmortem yet, but can you share some insights? What they mentioned? What was an issue?
so they yeah, 1 second, because I have it on my timeline. So they use a UI animation library called the Lottie player, and that
Mm-hmm.
basically library was compromised. And
Damn.
because of that, the basically the front end was compromised and was showing to the users to introduce their seed
Yeah,
phrase.
definitely. Damn, it's sad. It's sad. Like we still have a lot of. I mean, I see that shift of paradigm from at the beginning of security of blockchain security. We had most of the issue on the smart contract side or protocol side, and now it seems like the area become much more mature. Like we have a lot of platforms, yeah, security contest platforms, a lot of security firms who do audits, bug bounties, monitorings, etc., etc. And seems like now we slowly but surely moving back to the roots to general Web2 security, where you should remember about your front end as well, where where your financial team become a victim and the protocol losing private keys and assets, all assets, or something like that. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so uh, at first, of course, there was this need of searching for a meaning in blockchain. Like what that means okay, what's the purpose of blockchain? The tooling was
Yeah.
super raw. We didn't invest a lot in the tooling because we need to understand exactly the path we are going forward. And over the years, Ethereum was basically kind of like organized and settled itself as the leading, let's say, ecosystem as of now. And then, of course, we have also Solana and all of like other chains. But mostly, like if you look right now, most of the chains are EVM compatible, so they are kind of like relying on the EVM architecture to deal with
Yeah.
this type of stuff. And we have, well, again, we also have Aptos, Solana, Sui, and other chains as well. Not the same, mature enough, but most of the market is actually captured by EVM.
Yes, of course.
After we went through this, it was a period of building tools for developing smart contracts. Then everyone, well, if you look at the beginning, there was this trend where everyone actually didn't even care about that. Everyone was going either on Etherscan or actually had their own app, their own IPCs and submitting transactions, because that was the say the plan and the vibe at the beginning. But as the applications grew and the complexity grew, the need of front end and backend, the monitoring logs, and all sorts of, let's say, other adjacent
definitely.
things were built. And of course, that increases the surface area of security, like security being an important part of the day-to-day, let's say, process, right? And after the blockchain was kind of like settled, and we had, as you said, this security, like 10 or however security platforms that are like doing security reviews, and so security that is important also because the code is public and the attackers can easily actually attack those smart contracts. The attackers took the other way around and started to focus on Web2. Because if you look lately, we don't have a very big Web3 exploit like we had back in the days. Like millions and millions of dollars because I don't know, so on. But the latest big exploits, let's say, let's call them exploits, are due to
hacks.
Hacks due to a Web2.
Yeah.
So also the exploiters focusing now more and more. It's understood that we have a very big, weak link in this chain, and that is the human factor.
Yeah, of course. Humans are always the weakest point of any organization, even a decentralized one, because most of the fully decentralized systems are kind of centralized by single key transactions or something like that. Exactly. So okay. And what do you do now? What is your general day looks like? Are you mostly focused on audit contests or tell us more.
I'm doing multiple things. One of the but I do mostly security reviews within Cantina, either competitions or private security reviews. Also, I'm a judge there from time to time. And kind of like that's what my day looks like. It's pretty full. And also, when I find some time, I stream a bit about Soldeer, and I do a bit of Rust coding, because I also do Rust auditing, like security reviews. But I don't like to decouple myself from the development so much. So I like to write a bit of code here and there as well.
Yeah, there is some kind of passion here as well. It's, I mean, like coding is like a fast dopamine. You just wrote something and you see a result immediately. Rather than it's insecurity where it looks like more like R&D, where you're trying to find something, and maybe you will find something.
I was talking with some friends and explained to them the difference between coding, let's say security reviews, and research. If you want like very fast accomplishments, you do coding because you see the results immediately. You feel good about yourself. If you want a bit more, something more challenging, you go to security reviews where you spend sometimes 1, 2, 3 days, depends. And maybe you find something, or maybe you don't find anything. If you really hate yourself, you go into research where you can spend years and yield nothing at maybe nothing at the final of those years. So kind of like that's what I was talking with some friends, that they also asked me what's next for me.
Would you like to start any kind of research, or you like yourself more than this?
I tried, to be honest. I tried, but I'm not built for research. I mean, you need to be built for research, as I said, because you can spend months and months and months, and yield no result, or maybe years, and you have to keep your more. But I'm not. I'm a fast type of person.
Yeah.
Security reviews are like most I can.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty hard to be focused on when you, especially in research, when you should be focused for months on the same topic. And maybe this is a good thing about security because you have contests usually like 2 3 weeks, and after that you change in target and moving on and trying to and working with a new fresh code base, and it's more interesting that working on the same code base for a very long time.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So if I'm not wrong, you signed a Cantina fellowship program. Is it correct or
Exactly.
okay? We didn't had guests who were signed for Cantina fellowship. Actually, they launched it not so long time ago. And if there is something what you can share with our listeners, because maybe there is something which is private terms or something, but what is that, how it looks like, and what do you think about it?
Awesome. So, well, I've been working with Spirit for 2 years, I think, already, and I've been doing a lot of, let's say, private reviews with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried multiple, also competition platform, multiple, let's say, I tried to look uh, awesome on these, but I felt like the best of my work has been done uh, when working with Spirit because the team is super, super nice. From the security researchers to the core team as well, and I feel like I kind of align with their goals. Therefore, the fellowship felt like like a next step for me. The fellowship is super nice. Basically, you get access to various deals uh, that are, let's say, that are especially for the fellowship members, and you also get a boost in rewards if you reach a top 1 or 25% in a competition on Cantina. And you have, I mean, currently there are like, I don't even know how many competitions are active, but Cantina has lots and lots of competition, so you have
Yeah.
a lot of time and not a lot of things to do when you don't get bored. So yeah,
So basically, it's like a special conditions where you can get more offers from Cantina or Spearbit, not only a public competition, and as well you getting boosts to your rewards if you uh, did a good job. Is it correct? Yeah,
exactly.
I see.
If you do that, you get a boost in rewards.
Do you have any kind of exclusivity to work only with that platform or something, or
Yeah,
not?
you have to work only in Cantina, and you have to basically be only in the Cantina ecosystem and nothing else. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, but to be honest, that's enough. If you are good enough, that's
Yeah.
enough because there are so many opportunities and it keeps you so busy that you don't actually. I mean, I've been working with Spearmint for so long, and I kind of didn't have time to do anything else
Mhm.
because I've been so busy. And as I said, there are so many opportunities that I feel I don't need anything else at the moment.
So you booked most of the time, and but okay, but you choose like, okay, I don't want to work with that code base and do not participate in that competition, for example, or you
Uh, well,
should allocate at least some. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Please continue.
probably I haven't seen this, but probably if you don't do anything for like some months, probably it raises a red flag, you know. But
Yeah.
as I said, there are like many competitions, and even if you don't like a type of code base, you can for sure do the next one because sometimes there are like 2 or 3 in parallel as well. There are like one that was a Java competition actually for an optimism client was just finished like few days ago. So you have also Java, you have Golang, you have Rust competitions. So there are like so many opportunities that I mean, I'm not sure why what else the field can offer that you actually can find on Cantina at the moment.
I see. Do you have any kind of your favorite type of projects to audit, like where you feel yourself most comfortable, like landing protocols maybe, or special code base or any kind of fork or something?
I've been in this space for so long that I don't have actually a preferred,
Uh-huh.
code base. I like to audit, to review basically everything that is related with. I like to review everything. I don't have any preference. I'm versed enough to approach any type of code base. I'm not afraid of anything. And, yeah, as soon as the code is interesting, I mean, that may be a small thing. That being the fact that if the code is not interesting in terms of like, if just an ERC20, okay, that's not
Yeah,
preferred, you know,
of
to
course.
review. But if it has a nice code base, if it's a nice code base, that's always a pleasure to review.
So basically, you do audits for any code base. I mean, like not only Solidity or Rust, but maybe Java, Go.
Yeah, I've done Web2 and Web3 reviews as well. So I'm doing also JavaScript reviews if needed. I don't do more. I don't do Android or iOS because I never. So I'm not so forced into them. But everything related with infrastructure, Solidity, Core, Java, TypeScript, whatever the name.
Do you? It's mostly about code review, but do you offer penetration testing services or something like looking for
Well,
web apps?
I did a bit in the past. In Web3, in Web2, I did it a lot, but not so much. I'm trying to actually be vocal, account about this and trying to push the protocols to think about Web2 application testing as well, review. So yeah, I would love to do more in Web3 space as well.
I see. What do you think? What is the most complex type of projects to audit from your side?
Well, that's a good question.
I believe that it could be something because I'm asking that question from time to time to different auditors, and most of them answering like the the most challenging audit is the audit of projects which have a lot of integrations, because you should check different parts of code or any kind of messaging protocol, for example, protocols who implement wormhole or layer 0, because as you mentioned in the beginning, you have a lot of dependencies, you have a lot of cross chain stuff, and
Okay.
so
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't feel like these are super difficult. You just need to be to have the discipline to look for everything. But I can say one type that is those that implement very complex math. I've reviewed one recently, I think this year. Yeah. I think Cantina reviewed Delve, which was all, I think, I forgot what was their old name, Delve protocol, which
yeah.
has super complex math, and that was one hard protocol to review because the whole protocol was based on some special method they invented, and it was you have to apply some mathematical mathematical approaches to battle it. So it wasn't your usual DeFi protocol. AMM.
Yeah.
The curve. Everything. It's quite easy to follow. This one had so many custom, let's say, let's call them functions and implementations that we had to go a bit deep into it. And that was one hard one that we.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think? What would make that audit easier? Did they have bad documentation of
No,
different no, or it
nothing
just
actually. It's
uh-huh.
just the mentality of, because when you review something, you have to think first as an auditor. You check the documentation and make sure
Yeah.
that okay, what they wrote there, it's actually applied in the code. That the code makes sense. That the functions, formulas, and so on make sense. But then you have to think as an attacker and as an exploiter as well. And then it's okay. How do you attack a math function? You have to think on some edge cases or some derivations or how it's super weird to think about this.
Yeah, from other side. Yeah.
Exactly. No, the protocol was super nice. Was like super uh, nice. They had lots of documentation. They were super open to everything to explain. There was nothing to worry on that side. It was just not hard because you have to think of how to explain it. Because if you don't think, you can just say, it works. It says it looks like this. It looks like in the documentation, and it works. But in fact, it's not like that.
What do you think about AI solutions? Like, do you use any to understand the code base better? Like, I mean, it can be really useful to work with documentation in some terms, but do you use any for your audits?
You touched a very sensitive subject because I just come from a security competition Cantina where we had over 10% of submissions generated by AI. So,
It's
so
yeah,
yeah,
tough.
it's very tough. No, I mean, I use Cursor, but I don't use Cursor to find me bugs. I use Cursor usually to, for example, I like to call them accountability, which means that I tell him to extract all and only owner functions, or
Mhm.
tell me where this function is called in the code base and stuff like that. And it's if it's a complex like protocol, But I think that's the most I can. Oh, and maybe if they have like some sort of weird naming or like a weird math function that I never heard of, and I just use and say,
Mhm.
explain this function to me, because it's somehow sometimes good at least to point me to the right direction where I should search more. Thinking about it, I think I kind of replaced Google with Cursor. Like I don't use Google anymore. Now I use Cursor to, okay, what does this weird term means? And Cursor usually
Yeah,
tells me.
yeah. Cursor is amazing, actually. And also it's really useful to write in tests, unit tests. And I don't know if you tried it, but it's really cool in that area as well, and help to automate some processes. But yeah, Cursor is really powerful tool. I even don't know how it will evolve in next few years. I heard a lot of thoughts that, to be honest, the audit is kind of manual job, isn't it? Like, and AI tools, most of them are created to replace the manual job for all of us. And I really believe that they will do really good audits in near future. And but yeah, what do you think about it?
Well, I think that the first step will be to actually uh, get out the easy bugs, the ones that you forgot to put only owner here, or you are burning from wrong account, or all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
this, like super easy. Uh,
Low
like
handling fruits.
exactly
Yeah.
low hanging fruits. There will be, yeah, for sure. In the future, AI will help you as a dev to run it in a pipeline and just tell you, hey, you just push this code where you forgot to put only owner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still a bit, let's say, reserved about actually being a very competitive opponent to the security researcher for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
I mean, there was this boom of LLMs, and I understand with more data, more training, and so on and so forth, it can become better and better. But I need to see the next thing, because LLM alone won't solve our problem. I need to see the next, let's say, big innovation in order to be more scared at the moment.
Yeah, of course. And it seems like that even now, as you mentioned at the beginning, that we don't have a lot of um, exploits, hacks, due where the reason is the vulnerability in smart contracts, and this is because the vulnerabilities become more complex. Like it's not that easy to catch the issue, because most of the stupid vulnerabilities are already found, yeah, and it's really easy to catch them. And really complex issue which include business logic, and where you need to really understand how the protocol works, it's pretty hard to find. And with scaling of all these blockchains where different blockchain applications interact with different apps, it will be even more complex. And just having an LLM maybe will be not enough to find everything. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, it's fine for a developer to use an
no, it's okay. Yeah,
cursor to don't, to avoid having like this the very easy issues, like to knock down the very easy issues. But they should not trust cursor in saying, okay, my protocol is safe now. I can skip a security review. I can just deploy.
yeah. And it's really funny. Have you already seen code base? I mean, like, did anybody already ask you to do the audit, and you open it, the audit, and see that it was fully written by ChatGPT?
You mean the code?
Yeah, the code.
No,
No,
not
okay,
yet.
it's good, because we already seen that. Like
Oh,
sometimes, yeah, you can open the code base, and you sometimes even see the comments from ChatGPT, like,
but I've
please
seen,
replace here
yeah,
something. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of issues, competition with ChatGPT. So that's, I mean, if those are happening, for sure, someone is writing smart contract with ChatGPT.
Yeah, but how to detect that the bug report was written by ChatGPT? I mean, like, we have the pretty similar problem and trying to solve it, because now it's become harder and harder to identify that the issue was generated by AI tool, for example, because sometimes they are really well prepared, written, with even with proof of concept, and you're spending a lot of time to just to figure out that this issue is not valid.
So I do not have a problem if you correct your issue grammatically
Hmm.
with ChatGPT. I have a problem when you uh, insert a lot of useless text into the issue just to make it look like professionally written.
Hmm.
Someone just asked me today, like, how do you exactly the same question? Because I announced that, okay, there are so many AI generated issues everywhere, and we need to be aware of that. And I told them that if it's useless text inserted into the issue that it's too general and actually doesn't point an issue, then that's most probably an
Yeah, I
AI generated.
generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have something in mind, like it seems that this happens. Can you expand? And then let the chat GPT expand and go sideways in values. I know various very general attacks that makes no sense, and so that's an AI generated issue and should never be accepted, because it's losing your time, because you have to read it and you're losing your time, and it's
Yeah,
disrespectful.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. How many judges usually participate in audit? I mean, like,
It
how
depends a
many
lot.
reports you should validate
Well,
in general?
so it's usually two judges per competition.
Uh-huh.
But it depends a lot on the competition. And sometimes there may be even more if the competition is like super complicated. So two and between 2-3 judges per competition.
Depends on the number of submissions and the complexity of the code base. I see.
Yep.
Uh, can you share your favorite findings?
Oh
Maybe
man.
something really about
uh,
what you're really proud of.
oh man. I have a big problem. I've done so many that I actually can't remember any. Uh,
Mm.
and it's hard to actually find one. And the other problem is that I'm not sure if the protocol actually released
The report.
the report and so on and so forth. But if I may say, like a class of findings
Okay.
are usually the ones that exploit, hack. I mean, I usually like the ones that are the uh, rounding issues. Those are super
Mm-hmm.
nice to find, but not the rounding issues in terms of like in the, let's say, in the function that you see the rounding, because of the small rounding issue. The part of the code base actually gives you exploit because of that. This round
Uh-huh.
time gives you 0, gives you 1 table, and because of this you can buy this, because this is basically down, so on. So it's kind of like all of these, interconnected, let's say, functions that actually gives you a path. Oh, those are like a lot. Um, yeah, I can't, so many. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see. It's okay. The reason why I'm asking is because uh, we have a lot of beginners who listen in us, and they asking for some tips, hints where to start, and I like to answer like keep focusing on some specific area where to become mature in it, yeah, and after that scale your skills in horizontally. So what recommendation you can share to the beginners who just starting their path in cybersecurity sphere, Web3 cybersecurity sphere, especially in audits?
So there is one thing that will make you stand, and that thing is discipline of putting the work. You cannot skip any step. You cannot try to jump over some fences. No, it's just you have to wake up, start doing the job, and repeat that every day for a long period of time, and you will succeed. There is no other shortcut. I've seen people who try to shortcut via AIs, via various methods, but really good security researchers, they showed up every day and they put in the work. And that's unfortunately the only way that it can make you succeed. And you can focus, of course, on a type of, I mean, I started old school, which was not, I mean, focus was like security in general. It was not something super, let's say, niche. But
Mm-hmm.
you right now, because there are so many things, you can actually be niche enough. You can do cross chain, you can do DeFi, you can do infrastructure, you can do, I mean, there are so many also niche areas that you can focus on and excel into, which was something that I did not have when I started.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely have much more resources than
Exactly.
in period when we started. Like even courses, yeah, videos, yeah, public reports, platforms where to try
Oh
yourself.
man, there are
Yeah.
so, I mean, come on, there are so many things that you can actually learn from right now. Uh, it's amazing. And another thing that I want to say to everyone is don't try to. I mean, I've seen. I sometimes I see a pattern of people just trying to copy bugs from another report or whatever into a specific report, and sometimes works, but most of the time that kind of like doesn't work. So even if it's nice that you can see, like you can see past reports, and you have like Solidity, which does a very good job on having all type of issues and so on. It's
Hmm.
good to learn and not to copy. So learn and try to understand how that issue was discovered and why it happened. But it's not good to just okay, this is an issue. Whenever I see a contest or whatever like this, I just copy paste this issue and say, yeah, this is a similar issue or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. Try to
Need to
learn the
understand the
pro.
context. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Try to learn the concept, not just copy paste the codes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you for advices. Uh, what, by the way, what do you enjoy more, Rust audits or Solidity? They are
Uh,
most common.
well, to be honest, I mean, this is also a bit maybe biased, but I like Rust a bit more maybe because also it's more complex than Solidity. Solidity is pretty simple. The most complex part of Solidity being the assembly part, but if you spend like a few days, it's easy to understand the whole assembly as well. Of course, you can understand it enough to be proficient. There are always, if you go down the rabbit hole, there will always be bugs and stuff that you can learn. But Rust is a bit more complex and has a beauty to it. I like more Rust solidity,
Mhm.
but I don't like, but I like more the solidity tooling than Rust tooling. Rust tooling is
Yeah.
super, super. Rust analyzer, it's like it's a, ah man, and yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely. What kind of Solidity tools are you enjoy more? Like somebody use Tenderly. Do you use them or
Well, I use
Audit
Solidity,
Wizard or
Solidity
yeah, yeah.
and Foundry, and that's it. I don't use any other tooling
Ah,
besides, of
okay.
course, Medusa, Echidna, uh, Almost Control for
Trial
simplicity.
of Bits stack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I believe that actually we are out of questions. Do you have any final thoughts which you would like to share with our community?
Yeah, I think the final thought is actually something I keep saying on X, which is please put a bit more capital into Web2 security, uh, at least 70% of what you put into Web3 security. This is more like a
Y-
call out for the protocols than to the target audience, which are security researchers here.
Yeah, definitely. But the funny thing is that if you will check the budgets, yearly budgets of Web3 company protocol or something, the percent allocated to security in general for whole security is around, I don't know, 3 to 5%. Like the major part, of course, will be a marketing, 40, maybe even more. But security is still so so small number, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, usually if you're a protocol, I tell you two things. first get a security researcher on retainer, which can be alongside you the whole process. This will ease a lot your security reviews that you do with outsiders and so on and so forth. And it will be a very good asset, not only because it reviews your code, but also because it will train your dev team to think as a security reviewer as well. If you think about it, when you do a security review, so you develop for like 6 months and then you submit your contracts or your code or whatever to the security reviewers, your devs don't actually learn a lot. They just get the feedback on what they written, right? But if you have a security researcher on retainer, that security researcher is alongside the team along the way, and the dev team actually understands how a security researcher thinks and what are the processes and what he looks for. And that also I've seen proven improvements in security by the teams by doing that.
And, this is how continuous development looks like in Web2 area, isn't it? Like better to have somebody on a retainer to audit small piece of code than the whole code every time, because you can implement fixes faster and fix mistakes from the very beginning of them.
Exactly.
Okay, and it was Mario, Alex, Hagenproof, Web3 Security Podcast. If you enjoyed that format, please leave your feedback in comments as well. And don't forget to follow Twitter of Mario, me, and Hagenproof to not miss new episodes. Thank you, Mario, for being with us today, and see you guys in next episodes. Bye-bye.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.